So the genre I have chosen as my favorite movie genre is comedy. First off, we should start off with what is comedy. First off, a comedy film is a category of film in which the main emphasis is on humor and making the audience laugh. These films are designed to make the audience laugh through both amusement and most often by exaggerating characteristics of the actors. This film in this style usually has a happy ending with very little to no seriousness, darkness, or death. Comedy is considered to be one of the oldest genres of film. Second of all, we need to know that there are different genres in comedy. First off, there's slapstick. This is a style of humor that involves exaggerated physical activity that exceeds the boundaries of normal physical comedy. Then there's also horror, a generic hybrid that deliberately provokes an emotional shift from horror, suspense, or dread all the way to humor. Then there's also action, relies on the characters to bring out humor during the action scenes. While the action scenes are more funny and more humorous, they tend to be less intense than in traditional action movies. Then there's also romantic. Focusing as lighthearted, humorous plotlines are centered on romantic ideas such as how true love is able to surpass most obstacles. Some early comedy movies that are the most remarkable are The General, which was released in February 5th of 1927. It was directed by Buster Keaton and Clyde Bruckham, and it actually made $1 million at the box office, which at the time is actually pretty good. And they only had a 750,000 budget, which for the time for a big movie was like really small budget. Then we also have A Night at the Opera, which was released on November 15th of 1935. This starred Groucho Marx, Chico Marx, and Harpo Marx. So they were a trio of brothers, real life brothers, and it made $1.8 million at the box office. Then there's also Modern Times. This was released on February 25th of 1936. This was directed by Charlie Chaplin, and it also made $1.8 million at the box office. But it did have a budget of 1.5 million, so it did kind of underwhelm money wise. And then the final one is called Duck Soup. This was released in November 17th of 1933. It was directed by Leo McCarey, and it starred once again the three Marx brothers. So they were kind of the pioneers of the comedy scene in the film industry. So a lot of credit goes to them. Now, some of the award-winning movies that are in the comedy genre are Jojo Rabbit, which was released on November 8th of 2019. It was directed by Taika Waititi, and it was played by Scarlett Johansson and Roman Griffin. Those were the main characters. And then we also have Birdman, which also won a Grammy. This was released on October 17th of 2014. It was directed by Alejandro Gonzalez, and it starred Michael Keaton, Zach Galifianakis, and Edward Norton. And then the last movie that is probably the most remarkable out of the three is Forrest Gump. This was released on July 6th of 1994. It was directed by Robert Zemeckis, and it starred Tom Hanks, Robin Wright, and Gary Sinise. And according to most people, like this is one of the most well-known comedy movies out there. Then we got some comedy studios. So we have Comedy Central, Paramount Pictures, and Walt Disney Pictures. But Comedy Central is the only one that focuses on specifically the comedy genre, while Paramount Pictures and Walt Disney, they usually don't focus on one specific genre. They usually have movies of all types, but they also do comedy. But Comedy Central is like the main comedy one, hence the name. And then some of my personal favorites are Step Brothers, which was released in July 25th of 2008. It was directed by Adam McKay and starred Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, Richard Jerkins, Mary Steenburgen, Adam Scott, and Catherine Hahn. And it made $128.1 million at the box office. So it did pretty good. Next, we have Central Intelligence, which is my favorite comedy movie. It was released on June 10th of 2016. It was directed by Ross and Marshall Thurber, and it starred Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson. Them two together, I just find it extremely funny, hence why it's like my favorite comedy movie. And it made $217 million at the box office. So it did really good. And then my third favorite is Happy Gilmore. This was released on February 16th of 1996. and it was directed by Dennis Duggan, and it only made $41.2 million at the box office. Although it was released a while back, it still didn't make much money compared to their budget. And it was mainly starred by Adam Sandler and Tim Hurley. Thank you.